Today, a lesson 11.3, comparing data displayed in box plots. Box and whisker plots are graphs that show how data are distributed by using the median, quartiles, least, and greatest values. Box plots with similar variability is what we're going to look at first. We can compare two box plots numerically according to their centers or medians and their spreads or variability. Range and interquartile range, which is also IQR, are both measures of spread. Data sets with similar variability should have box plots with similar sizes. So in example 1, we're looking at a box plot that shows distribution of time spent shopping by two groups. We have group A and group B. The time spent shopping is in minutes, and you'll notice it's counting by tens. In comparing the two, we're going to answer certain questions about them. First, in A, they want us to compare the shapes of the box plots. I want you to write that the positions and lengths of the boxes appear similar. Also, the right whisker is shorter on both of these than the left whisker. So these are the whiskers and these are the boxes. Okay, so the whiskers on the right are shorter than the whiskers on the left on both. So both boxes, or let's just say both groups, have shorter right whiskers than left whiskers. Okay, so the whiskers help us see the spread. On B, it's asking us to compare the centers of the box plots. So again, when we were talking with the dot plots, the center, we talked about the median. Okay, so group A, the median, and in a box plot, the median is that middle line, so that dot right there for group A. Notice that it's right at about 47, it's at 47.5, so that's group A's median. I want you to write that the median and it's greater than group B's median, and that group B, if you look at where it hits right at 40, so group B's median is right at 40. Group A's shopping time that means that group A's shopping time is 7.5 minutes greater than group B's shopping time. So from the median, we can tell that just put group A has a shopping time 7.5 minutes greater than group B. Okay, group A, we're going to go ahead and look at the spreads. Your C got hole punched out. So looking at the spread, we're looking at your box plot. We're looking at where it begins and where it ends. So for group A, if you see where that ends, that's right at 55, minus where it starts, it begins right at 30. So 55 minus 30 means that group A has a spread of 25 minutes. Group B, the end is right at about 59, and it begins right at about 32. When we subtract, that's about 27. So you can see that they're very similar. So the box itself, that is your interquartile range. So that's what we just compared. We compared the ending with the beginning, we subtracted. On both of them, they're so close together that we're going to say IQR, the interquartile range. That shows us, just put shows that, the spread is similar in length. Okay, for the your turn, you're going to do exactly what we did up here. You're going to talk about the shapes, you're going to talk about the centers, you're going to talk about the spreads, okay? But this time you're talking about two groups of football players. They want you to compare the box plots of the two groups' weight. So the weight is in pounds, and you're, again, just going to describe the shape, the center, and the spreads of the boxes. So go ahead and pause your video and get that done. All right. We're going to actually go over this in class on Monday because the video was having trouble loading. It kept telling me it was too long. So we'll just look at the your turns on Monday together. We're going to go ahead now and talk about the next section, which is box plots with different variability. You can compare box plots with greater variability where there's less overlap of the median and the interquartile range. So over here, these were very similar. You can see that they overlapped. Over here, you can tell that, oh, they're a little more spread apart. They're not overlapping as much. So in example 2, these two box plots show the distribution of the number of team wristbands sold daily by two different stores over the same time period. So store A and store B, we're going to compare first the shape, okay? And you'll notice that store A is longer, okay? And also in the whiskers, then store B is more compact. That tells us that store A's data was not as consistent. It's spread out longer, where store B, a lot of their data falls in the same place, so that's why it's more compact. Okay, but when it asks you to compare the shape, all I want you to write is store A's box and right whisker are longer than store B's. Okay. For part B, they want us to compare the centers of the box plots. Well, remember that the center is the median. So for store A, we're going to go ahead and write that median down. And again, it's that center line inside the box. So that's going to hit right at about 43. For store B, we're going to go ahead and get that median. And store B's median is over here, and we'll say that's at about 51. So that tells us that store A's median, of course it's less than store B, but if you look at where store A's median hits, it hits at the almost, it's very close to the least value in store B. So that means that if that's a median, and a median is seen as kind of a measure of average, their average sales fall on store B's worst day. So that tells us a lot. I want you to write that down. I want you to write, let's see, put store A's median is close to store B's least value. Which is their, sorry about that, which is their worst selling day. And the last comparison we're going to make is about the spreads of the box plots. So again, you can see that store A has a greater spread. We said that's a little inconsistent, right? Their least amount of sales is less than B. Their greater amount of sales happens to be more than store B, but you can see where their average is falling. Okay, their middle is with store B's least or worst sale day. So we're going to write that store A has a greater spread. And its IQR is greater than store B's. So again, the IQR is the box, the range, and you could tell that since this one's longer, it's greater than this one, which tells us that, again, this is more consistent. You can go get those numbers and subtract so you can see that it is greater, but the picture is so different that you could see that just by looking at it. But what is all of this combined, all this data that we can look at just by looking at the spread and looking at the boxes and looking where that median falls, what does that tell us overall about the two stores? You could tell which store is stronger, which store has more sales. So that's what's important about looking at graphs like this. You want to say that overall, store B has greater sales. And I do want you to try this your turn, because since we're just now talking about this, has to do with exactly this picture. So store A, store B, this is another store talking about the same thing, the number of wristbands sold, and they want you to take this data, so this would be like a store C, and they want you to put it in there and compare it with A and B. I'm going to leave you to pause the video, and again, we're going to have to talk about this on Monday because I'm really hoping this loads. Have a good weekend.